Hey guys, welcome back to Talking Too Fast. We are your hosts, Ryan Bamey.
And Brittany Chapman.
We are on location in Santa Monica, California for this review. We are that famous where we're touring now with our show. Today's episode of Talking Too Fast is a very special one because we will be reviewing Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, we're so excited. Oh,
We've already seen the movie twice.
Yes.
We went opening night, and then we went again Friday morning. We feel fully informed enough to give you a pretty good review. We're really excited. A lot of thoughts to go into this.
enjoy. Let us know what you think.
Be our guest, be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, Sherry, and we'll provide the rest.
I was just blown away. I think it was just so magical. I loved every bit of it. I loved the things they added. I was totally and completely just like in awe after I left that first viewing. So
Which is funny because I was actually not in awe after my first viewing. I actually had a lot of mixed feelings about it, and I didn't tell Brittany during. I was mostly just keeping my thoughts to myself because I knew that we were going to see it again.
he was being so quiet. I was like, this is not normal.
I went in with very high expectations for this film. First viewing and second viewing reactions were completely different. First viewing, I was a bit winded, honestly, and there was a lot to take in. Beauty and the Beast is the best Disney classic, in my opinion. It's my favorite of the
absolutely.
Disney Renaissance films.
Yeah.
And I think that I had to shift my expectations after seeing it. Knowing full well the differences in how things played out, I was able to see it for the film it actually was, and being able to step back and love this new film by its own in and of itself. But I love them for their differences. What are some of your favorite things taking away from the film?
The relationship that is built between Belle and the Beast,
Mhm.
I absolutely, I just loved that. I think that, in the animated film, you knew that they cared about each other, but in this one it was just like, they just added so many sweet moments and like the joking between them and them just being able to be silly with each other, and I just think it like built this more like, added a dimension to their romance, and I loved that. I enjoyed that so much.
I love that they gave the Beast more wit.
Yes.
Honestly, in this film, he's a very intellectually smart man. He's educated, but he's a pompous, jerk. And Belle is very headstrong, and she is intellectually smart and clever, and so, but in this one, they make them a bit more human, a little bit more real, and some of their dialogue and growth together in their relationship in the middle of the film were some of my favorite moments of the entire movie. So a lot of people were nervous about the computer animation for him. Was it the most perfect animation I've ever seen in my life? No, but what really stood out to me was I could see Dan Stevens through, in his eyes, in his expressions. I felt his presence.
I was amazed with the emotion that Dan Stevens was able to put into that character, so that you really felt like what this character was feeling. I was able to connect with him more. Like, there were just moments where I was like, look at how he's looking at her. Just like little things. It was just really, really, really sweet. So I loved that.
I mean, honestly, I was kind of falling in love with him a little bit, and I thought they played off each other well.
Totally.
I loved his overall look as the Beast, and especially his eyes. I could get lost in his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, seeing him talk to me, fangs and all, like, hi. What were some of your favorite adaptations in terms of iconic scenes?
I fell in love with Gaston. Like his scene where they're in that his little tavern or whatever. I loved that part so much. I'm like in the animated film, it wasn't like this huge deal to me. I was like, okay, whatever, and it was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I really loved that scene.
I think I enjoyed the music in that number a little bit more in this real life version than in the cartoon. However, my favorite line in that movie was not in the film, which is every last inch of me is covered with hair. It's not in it. For me, what really translated to screen amazingly, which is a big deal because some would argue this is the powerhouse number of the entire movie, and that would Be Our Guest.
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away
That was
by Be Our
amazing.
Guest.
It
I
really was.
silently clapped in my seat both viewings after seeing that because I wanted to applaud like I was
Yeah.
watching a live show. The animation effects, Ewan McGregor knocked it out of the park. It was really nice to hear him sing after so many years not hearing him sing since Moulin Rouge. I'm sure he has sang since then, but it just took me back, and hearing him sing the first few notes and then the entire cast getting involved, that did not disappoint. Some reviews thought that they were underwhelmed with it.
I know, and I went in like knowing
No.
that, and I'm just like, after I saw Be Our Guest, I'm like, dude, what the heck are you even talking about?
That was amazing.
This was so amazing.
Yeah.
They did such an incredible job.
Yes, it was huge. There's floating silverware everywhere. Like, where are they even
Oh,
coming
yeah.
from? They altered some of the orchestration with the lyrics a little bit towards the end, but it's just to make it bigger and bigger and cinematic and Broadway, and I loved it.
So I think that one of my favorite things that was added in was Maurice and his character. I loved that they made him someone that I could really care about. He was just very endearing. I feel like in the animated feature, he was kind of like a bumbling, like
Crazy old Maurice.
crazy old man, and like eccentric, right?
Yeah,
he was
eccentric.
eccentric, and which was fine. But like, I really fell in love with him in this movie. I really kind of just adored his character. I
Yeah.
loved him.
Yeah, they gave so much more heart and soul and depth into the character of Maurice, and especially when they take his character and go in and more into his and Belle's and Mother's backstory and a little bit more of their family history and where they came from, and why he and Belle got to where they are. I do love the changes that they made with Belle, with Emma Watson, and making her the inventor. Really exploring more as to what makes her the funny, strange girl in the village, other than a girl who reads. What are your thoughts on the music?
I know, I mean, like, we know there's the 3 new songs in this, and I think out of all of them, the Beast song, Evermore, it was so heart-wrenching for him, such a powerful moment for him, and I loved that this song kind of was just like, no matter what happens, like, she will always be a part of me. She's always gonna be there. I loved watching him just like keep on moving and moving to try and just
Watch
to
her-
see
watch
her
her
until
go.
like I go until I can't see you anymore. Like, I will watch until then. And I just am like, oh, that is like the passion
Yes.
behind that. You know,
Yes.
you feel that from him, and I love that.
Absolutely. That song of the 3 is probably the most powerful of the 3 new songs they added in terms of what emotion evokes from it. And Dan Stevens did a great job. I thought Emma Watson did a lovely job.
I did
She
too.
did a
I
lovely
really
job
do.
with the song she was
Yeah.
given. She has a great voice. She is so good at what she did. You know, being not vocally trained. She and Dan Stevens, for that matter, they're not vocally trained singers
Yeah.
at all. They trained for their roles. Did a lovely, wonderful job, and I'm excited to listen to them more. Ewan McGregor blew it out of the park
Yes.
with the vocals of Be Our Guest, and then Luke Evans as Gaston. He has amazing vocals.
Great.
Luke Evans in general is a very beautiful man in my opinion, but his vocals, blew me away, and I was very happy with the music. Some people thought that the new numbers were kind of throwaway numbers that don't hold a candle to any of the originals, and I'm not calling them better than the originals, but I think they're very strong
Yeah.
and have very significant points in the film that, made me love them. How does it compare to the 91 version? In what ways did it maybe miss the mark? Talking about music, one song number that I was very, very on the fence about walking out of there, which is, like, in my eyes, the most iconic moment of Beauty and the Beast, and that is Beauty and the Beast in the ballroom. What really bothered me, for me, there was no rhythm in Emma Thompson's singing of the song. She would interject a line of a verse or a chorus sporadically throughout the orchestral arrangement while Belle and Beast were dancing. The visuals of that scene was beautiful and perfect, and their dance was so amazing, and I've come to accept the version for what it is, and I was able to love it seeing it a second time, knowing that it was going to be different.
Yeah.
Because Emma Thompson's vocals are good.
Yeah,
I think
they
what
are.
just bothered me is how it was sung throughout the film, and it was just kind of sporadic. I still love my Angela Lansbury version, but Emma Thompson did a great job vocally.
I think a lot of it was towards the end. A lot of it was the end
Agreed.
stuff. Starting with when Belle comes back and Gaston is going after the Beast. I was surprised that he was like kind of running away from him. I think in like the animated feature he just kind of just like gives up, but like the Beast is like just like jumping from tower to tower like the whole time. Then he does finally see Belle. There was a lot of power in the animated feature, like when he just basically gave up everything. It was like there's nothing left for me. And then he finally is just like, when he finally sees Belle in the animated feature, it's just like everything like completely turns around. It's a very dramatic turnaround, and I think that I loved that.
Yes, I loved it too.
And so it was different.
I can quote the entire 91 animated film back and forth, and from line to how they say their lines to music cues and everything. And so I had that playing in my mind watching this film the first time, and with how often that they didn't deliver lines the same way, or some lines weren't even there, or music moments weren't even there, or they completely shifted the order of things. It kept catching me off guard, like, oh, that's different. Oh, that's not there. There were some moments that I found that I will honestly say felt a little flat for me in comparison to how they were in the animated film. But what they did do, and some moments that they did interject and did tell a different way, I was able to come on board and really appreciate them for what they were. One thing I did like about the new conflicts, I did like that Belle got more involved.
Yeah,
in
that
it.
was good.
I think what mostly stuck out to me in their battle between Gaston and Beast was I felt like Gaston didn't get nearly as crazy
Yeah.
as he did in the cartoon.
Yeah, I think like a good way to explain that we were talking is that like Gaston literally he's the one who turns into the beast.
Like his hair
in that
comes
moment.
undone, he goes
Yeah.
crazy, saying that Belle is mine and is on a rampage to kill the beast. He doesn't reach that
Right.
in this movie.
I agree.
Really at
I
all.
agree.
He's out on a mission to kill, but he never becomes crazy. Some of the tension in that moment kind of went down a little bit because of his performance.
Although the fact that he shot him like what,
Yes.
three times,
Three times
yeah.
total. That
was
was
like,
I did
woo!
love that.
So the other part that I was a little bit like, meh, the last shot of the entire movie. I think like I was like, this is the last thing I see is honestly Audra McDonald. Why?
And her dog.
Why?
See.
This is the last thing I see. The Belle and the Beast on the dance. I mean, seriously, a kiss or something. I don't know. It was just like, okay, bye, Audra McDonald. Great movie.
The last shot should not have been Audra McDonald and Stanley Tucci and their dog. It should have been the Beast and Belle kissing or something. And again, the final shot is literally like 1 to 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's not that long, but it's
It,
like
it veers
wow.
off on the entire ballroom scene and everyone's dancing. It's their wedding and Audra McDonald, bam. I think we can agree that it really is the final act of the movie to where they made some choices that I don't quite understand or agree with. I loved that when the Beast dies in Belle's arms, I love the added scene where they flash to the castle
Yes,
staff
yes.
and they completely essentially die and become inanimate objects, and they have a moment where they're all saying goodbye to each other.
That
Was gut-wrenching. I loved that.
Yeah.
Do I wish that it would have been placed differently? Because I feel like it did kind of take away from Beast
From
and
what was
Belle.
happening,
It kind of
yeah.
did take away from them a little bit. The Beast and Belle moment where he does die in her arms. That moment in the cartoon, it's so powerful, and I feel like this version wasn't quite as powerful. I feel like the emotions were there, and her holding him, crying over him. The line, you know, that I wish I got to see, at least I got to see you one last time, it was there. But I feel like it was a bit of a shorter scene before it cut to the household objects, and it didn't punch me in the gut as strongly as the cartoon did.
Yeah.
You know, again, they kind of didn't stick the landing in some areas of the ending, just a little bit, the final act. And so that's what helps by seeing it again. You know what's gonna happen, what to expect, so you can step back and appreciate the film for what it is. I thought there were way more pros than cons. I thought Emma Watson did a lovely job as Belle.
Yeah.
I thought she carried her role well. Her chemistry with Dan Stevens was great. I thought the entire cast was superb.
LeFou
Yes.
was very pleased with him.
Oh, I loved
I
LeFou.
really did like him. I liked
Yes.
that. Yeah, we talked about how we just like that he had a conscience.
You know, everyone, you know, knows that he became, you know, the first, you know, gay Disney character on the screen, which isn't blown out of proportion, people, okay? It's very small and subtle, but it is there. But they do change his character. What stood out for me is that he does have a bit of a change of heart.
Yeah.
He grows a conscience. He comes to realize that his best friend, whom he idolizes and loves and lusts after at times, is actually kind of morally corrupt psychopath, and I like that they changed his character. 2 years building up for this film, and for the greater part, it delivered. Despite some flubs, overall, I feel like it was a strongly well put together film.
I agree.
Great music, great new songs, great new moments, and I'm excited to see it over and over again. Greatest strengths in this movie, the new songs, Dan Stevens, and the added scenes with he and Belle, and Maurice,
Yeah.
I'd say, were some of the 3 standouts.
Yeah.
For
For
me.
sure.
Well, there is our review of Beauty and the Beast. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you guys check it out. Maybe some of you will hate it, some of you will love it even more, and disagree with us. But you know what? That's movie business. You know.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, have a good rest of your day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Take